Good morning, everyone. My name is Ned Finn, and welcome to Stellaris. I am super excited because the new Apocalypse DLC plus the Cherry update, I think that's how you pronounce it, is coming out in just under a month. They put out a trailer for it just a little while back, but I didn't see it until like yesterday. But anyway, the expansion is coming out on February 22nd. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be reworking a whole lot of the combat mechanics. It would seem to make them work a lot better. Some other stuff like borders and stuff. It doesn't really matter. I'm super psyched. And in theory, I probably shouldn't be burning myself out on the game right now by playing so much of it. But I cannot stay away from this game. And I'm hoping that this video plus my increased experience with the game will sort of make clear why that is. Let's just jump straight into a game. I'm going to be using, not load game, I've already messed up. I'm going to be starting a new game with the Kroll Technocracy, which is sort of my Empire for Tall-based play. I started up a Tall game with these guys not too long ago. I did a lot of things right, but I made some mistakes, and I did just some oddball things that I want to go back and change and do differently. But we're gonna power on through and do that now. So yeah, let's begin. Brief overview for the Kroll. They are a mammalian species. They're intelligent, talented, and quick learners. The intelligent affects their research output. Talented and quick learners basically both affect the leadership class of the species. Non-adaptive is the penalty that I took to get some of the extra traits, which just means that they have somewhat decreased habitability. Normally that would be a problem for a lot of species, but because this is a tall empire, which means we're going to be working with very few planets, we can be very picky with which planets we settle, either going for big alpine worlds early on, or later on when we get better habitability technology and maybe the glandular modification thing for just changed planetary preferences through genetic modification. Either way, the habitability thing is a non-issue by and large. Our government form a rational consensus. We are egalitarian, which means that we're, fairly pro-democratic, pro-personal liberties and freedoms and equality and stuff. We are also fanatic materialists, which means that this empire, this government, is very focused on the here and now, the physical. It's not very spiritual. Actually, it's fanatically anti-spiritual in terms of like where it falls on that paradigm. And then our civics are beacon of liberty, very important. It increases our unity output. And then Technocracy, which just gives us extra research alternatives, which means we get to be a little bit more picky, a little bit more selective, a little bit broader options when it comes to what we're choosing to research. So, without further ado, let's get started. And we're in. Blah, 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 blah. Moving on. Okay. I'm going to keep the game paused. Get everything up and running first. Let's look at what we have in terms of research. All right. Physics research under Jasmine Bellflower. We do have quantum theory, which gives us the first version of the physics lab, but I think I want to go for assist research first, especially because in the Unity traditions, we're going to be going for faith and science first thing, because that boosts our Unity output and makes everything flow much more smoothly. Later on, the other like part of that Unity tree of that tradition tree is appealing, but I'm gonna go faith and science this time. Under Sergio Esguerra for society research, I think, again, biodiversity studies tempting. Heritage sites, even though it's going to take 71 goddamn months, I do think that Unity output, the Unity output is super frickin' important because we want to get to the Science Nexus ASAP, which means we need our Ascension perks, yada yada yada. And under Shanghi possibly, let us go for... See, like, the improved spaceport isn't super appealing to me because we don't need to be supporting a huge fleet. We've got two things for mineral outputs. I think I'm going to go for the geothermal fracking, which gives us the second iteration of the the mining network. We're not going to be getting to that heritage site for a while, especially because we're going to be meeting alien species. We're going to be having to translate their comms. It's going to be a while. Technology always goes really slowly early on, but that's fine. Okay, so next up, and this is a technique that I learned from a YouTuber named Aspect. This is a very useful technique. You will lose some ships early on, but they're only corvettes, so it's not really like that big of a deal. But you take the initial fleet that the game starts you off on, and you split it into its 3 ship components. And this is very important. This is a mistake that I made in the past. Take the take point off, and also deselect the rally point. Otherwise, any new ships you create will be trying to find the first fleet out in the galaxy. So you zoom out, first with your 3 single ship fleets now, and you just send them off into the galaxy. So you can find potential habitable planets, candidates, and meet allies, or I say allies, meet other, empires. Okay. Let's start this thing off. Wait, no, before we unpause, let's figure out what we want to do on the surface of our planet first. Let's clear away these couple of, what are these, industrial wastelands? Oh, we don't have the, do we not? Oh, it's the energy. We don't have quite enough energy to clear away this one, but we want these cleared away for the research output. And I think we're ready, except we also want to take the science ship, survey the system, and also, just to save ourselves a little bit of time, we're going to have our construction ship follow our science ship. Also, I've just noticed something extremely cute, and the planetary names and the star names are randomized in your home system, except for your home star, which is Dea, and your home planet Olympus. So that means that the game just randomly selected Olympia as the name of our moon, which is kind of adorable. I kind of appreciate that. For any of you at all familiar with Latin, Dea basically is the feminine form of the word for God. My sort of headcanon for the Kroll, which is our empire, the Kroll Technocracy, is that in their past they were actually a deeply religious species. That's where their planet is named after a spiritual afterlife. That's why their home star is named after like a mother goddess figure. Basically, there ended up being this one big like global religious organization, a single world church that broke down into these like really aggressively divided denominations that went to wars with one another to devastating effect. And in the wake of those wars, where like huge percentages of the population were just wiped out. And another thing that I've added to it recently, again just in the headcanon, is that there was a perceived there was a big solar flare that was detected from the host star that was interpreted by the clerics among the Kroll as the goddess beckoning them into the afterlife. So there was also like this weird like death cult mentality that went on, and basically through wars and through suicide, lots of people died, and the people that remained were sort of broadly disillusioned in what happened. They turned hard against that. You had perhaps even a young adjunct professor of sociology named Benjamin Hudson, who rose up as an influential member of this sort of rebuilding society project, and would later go on to become first speaker and president Ben Hudson of the newly formed Kroll Technocracy, a society that's based on science and research and a more reason-based understanding
Construction project
of
concluded.
the world around them and the universe around them. And they found the hyperlanes, and it's all very, very boring, probably, to someone who's not actually invested in this shit like I am. Can we build more stuff? Hold on. Actually, let's... Where is the next Kroll population gonna come? Well, Yeah, let's not worry about clearing tile blockers just yet. Let's build another mining station. And I will say that these mining stations are going to be extraordinarily important to our strategy because counterintuitively, despite the sort of the dichotomy in strategy games being between building wide or building tall, wide being like very spread out, lots of like a big population, whatever, and tall typically meaning like really, really dense population centers. In Civ, that means like having just a small number of really big cities, kind of more aliens. That's fine. We're gonna encounter probably like 3 or 4 species of aliens. I do want to know if we've encountered. Oh, we're already. Okay, where are these guys? Okay, so we found some crystalline enemies. That's not super good. My concern is running into like derelict mining drones or something, because those tend to be a lot more aggressive. These guys will probably just leave us alone. It doesn't look like we've encountered any other alien empires though, which is probably good. We don't really want a whole bunch of like super nearby neighbors. But yeah, especially since, and this actually goes to what I was about to say, somewhat counterintuitively, a tall empire strategy in Stellaris still requires you to get really, really wide borders, because in terms of resource production, like normally for most empires you're producing tons and tons of resources on your various planets. Since we're gonna have like a max of 4 versus like what most empires have by the mid-game, which is like brushing up the like 20. We can't rely on planets to produce a lot of our resources, so we're going to have to squeeze every possible system within our borders with mining stations. So that's what we're gonna do. And we've already found a potentially habitable world, which is exciting. We found an alpine world, which is our species' planetary preference. Unfortunately, it's only a size 17, and again, because we have to be very picky with our planet choices. Anything that's like under size 20 is probably not really on our radar. What else do we have? 19 Arctic world, that's interesting. A Gaia... Holy shit! Okay, pardon the shock and language. This is super friggin' rare. I think this might actually be like a unique planet as well. I'm not sure about that. I mean, it friggin' must be, because this is a, you don't usually have planets that have names like that, but furthermore, I've never seen a Gaia world which is 100% habitable for anything that is not guarded by, like, not heavily guarded by some kind of spaceborne aliens. We need that world. We're gonna splinter our borders like hella bad, but we need that planet. Oh my god. Okay. So this is super exciting. First things first, yeah. But yeah, no, my priorities are a little bit scattered right now. But what we're doing right now, we're building a science ship. We're gonna get a scientist on board. We're gonna send them off to the Gaia world to survey that system. And like as soon as is even like halfway feasible, we're gonna send a colony ship over there. We're gonna land on that motherfucker. I was not prepared for that, but also this is why you send shit out, okay? To get on like the good space real estate. Alright, we're house hunting early in the morning, alright? There's a reason for it. Okie dokie, that is our science ship numero dos. Going to recruit a new scientist. It doesn't particularly matter. I'm kind of tempted to get the 30-year-old, but I think I'm gonna go with Orietta Rizzo. Yeah, just because I like the adaptable thing. That's useful. We're gonna take her science ship. We're gonna send her off all the way off to Aglaces? Aglcheese? Aglcheese. Yeah, clearly it's Aglcheese. Aglacillus? Aglacies? I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm really hesitant now to be spending too many minerals on things just because I want to get the 500 necessary for that first colony ship, which, I mean, it's a little ways away. I mean, yeah, that'll take about 30 months, just under 30 months, to get this shindig off the ground, and I'm not really interested in going without spending minerals like that, but the possibility of getting a fucking Gaia world, a size 25 Gaia world that, again, like, I'm not sure what the significance of this would be, but the fact that it has a fucking name is probably important. I guess the Bengal can just, like, chill for the time being. This is exciting, and I've never seen something like this. I've never seen a unique Gaia world like this. I've never seen a Gaia world unprotected for this long, and it's a size 25. That's planets don't get bigger than 25. That represents the number of, like, these tiles here. Like even Olympus is only size 19, which is pretty good. I believe that the planetary size that you start off with is randomized between like 16 and 20, so that's on the higher end of things. That's nice, but still, I've never seen anything like this before, and I wasn't actually planning on colonizing this early, and we're gonna have to go through a whole mess of other things, like putting down a couple of frontier outposts along this path just so that we can have, like, cohesive borders. But me oh my, this is exciting, and we're 6 months away from getting a Unity tradition unlocked, which is definitely going to be in the discovery thing. The adoption effect is good. Anomaly discovery chance is 15%. That means, I mean, anomalies can yield all kinds of good things, and the anomaly fail risk is reduced by 10%, which means that when investigating those anomalies, we have a better chance of them not failing. I mean, that's fairly clear-cut. We're going to leave that be for now for the reasons mentioned above, but we can... and I don't think that anomaly fail risks can get below 5% as a base, barring extraordinary circumstances. Yeah, failure risk is never lower than 5%. But still, you know, a 50% reduction from a 10% fail risk to a 5% fail risk, that's 1 in 10 versus 1 in 20, so I'll take that happily. And actually... Yay, first Unity, so we're gonna adopt Discovery. Yes. And the Unity thing is hugely important for reasons that will become apparent later, as mentioned before. It's for the Ascension perks. We're gonna go Science Division, Polytechnic Education, and then Faith and Science, because Faith and Science gives us that sweet Unity output for our for assisting research. Hugely exciting. And speaking of hugely exciting, we are on the brink of surveying Prophet's Retreat, which I am so fucking interested to just see what dealio is with this. Okie dokie, let's see here. Weak magnetic field. It's a holy world. This planet is considered sacred by a nearby fallen empire. Colonizing it will anger them greatly. Oh, but it's got so much... I mean, first of all the tiles. Also Betharian stone. Also alien pets, which is really useful because it gives us xenology and extra... Oh, that's super disappointing. Oh, that's... Because... and colonizing it would take, like, a gajillion influence. Okay. That's if you hear the sound of air going out of a balloon, that's just my hopes and dreams for this place. I suppose it was always gonna be that way. Man. Oh well. Well, you know what? That's probably for the best, because it frees us up to do more tile clearing projects, which is probably for the best. Kind of want to maybe throw down some labs on the society output stuff, because society is where all of the really interesting technology comes from. Like, the other stuff is important. There's actually some really important stuff in physics and engineering, specifically zero-point energy and battleships, respectively, and later on mega engineering. But the really interesting, like, sci-fi stuff that feels like it's changing more things than just, like, extra mineral output, extra energy output, which are important, but not as cool as, like, increasing your planetary control caps or unlocking genetic engineering, you know? Like, there's cool, and then there's really fucking cool. Goodbye, sweet Gaia world.
Project concluded.
But, oh, good. Anyway, might as well finish surveying, however you want to pronounce that, and then just move back and go back to our own space. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know, it's possible that the pissing off a fallen empire thing isn't even that big of a deal, and I'm just being unnecessarily overcautious. But I do feel that it's probably better to be safe than sorry, because if upsetting that fallen empire ends up being bad,
System survey concluded without
being sorry rather than safe will probably mean being very, very sorry. Cool. But yeah, fallen empires are no joke. Like, if there's a fallen empire, I kind of want to know where they be at.
System survey concluded.
Send that back to Sanopel. Second Fleet reports significant crystalline presence in the Ulasia system, evidently some kind of den, or at least a hub of crystalline activity, such as it is. So this is a big embuggerance right here. Especially because it would appear that they are actually coming after my ship. Please make the jump. Samir Bilal now has the substance abuser trait. Good. So that's our core systems governor, who is now apparently on the drugs. Perhaps more long-term concerning than this is, but this is, in the short term, still pretty concerning. But we got away. That's good. And we have jumped into yet more stuff.
Initializing hostile
Oh no,
engagement
oh
protocols.
no, oh no. Okay, so we got close enough to piss off this swarm, and we're not gonna survive the 3 weeks.
Fleet
Yeah, no, we're dead.
silenced.
That's unfortunate. Alright. Oh well. I want to find out if there's a fallen empire around here, but we are not getting into this glob until we can get past these, which is to say, we might not be getting past. We might not just not be able to get into this glob, because we're not likely to have anything fleet-wise that can deal with that for quite some time, I'm afraid. Investigate Chia, and then Chia. Let's queue up some actions. Like we know what we're doing. Okay, so we've found space amoebas. Useful for research, less useful for what's going on right now. I'm gonna build up, just so that when we have the population, we can start doing fun things. Because the extra Unity output is going to be kind of important. And actually, because the thing is that I don't know, I'm debating whether or not I want to focus on food for a bit right now, just to get the growth rate up. But it's probably fine. Probably don't need to worry about it that much, because eventually those food tiles are going to be so much more valuable as like energy production, or in more serious terms, research output. Speaking of things that will boost our technological level, it's an important one. Let's also go for the administrative AI, which will increase our research speed. Let's also recruit yet another once we have the resources for it, which will be in a turn. I say a turn, in like a week now. A science ship, so we can have them assisting research on Olympus. Cool. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so that's our third science ship, the Kroll Technocracy ship Hawking. I guess let's just go for youth. The statecraft experience isn't really valuable to us right now. Actually, let's put in someone who actually has statecraft experience. Swap out Mr. Resilience with Mr. Military Theory. And then I'll also put a slightly more experienced hand as responsible for research assistance. Which will give us, you know, minor output boosts. Yeah. 11% to the research output of this home planet here. Which isn't huge, but that's, I mean, that's going to get more significant as time goes on. See, especially right now at the very, very beginning of the game, like, even the slight increase, although having this small of a population when we need to get so much done so quickly is kind of stressful. But I do want to put this here simply because that will effectively double our Unity output, thus cutting the time it takes to get these tradition paths in half. Maybe we clear this tile blocker and maybe move this pop
Research concluded.
there. So all of our ships are doing good work. He's gonna continue on his exploration mission. He's on his homeward loop now. We have not encountered any other empires. Now, early on in the game,
concluded.
we could have someone up here. We could have someone hiding around here. Someone being over here is a little bit concerning, but less than this in terms of, like, aggression, because they're a little bit limited to just what star lanes or hyper lanes are available for them to get at us from. If we're next to an aggressor empire, that might be a bit of a problem. That's going to become less of a problem as time goes on and we get better technology and we're maybe able to out-tech them with our ships. Again, something that's going to be changed in the update, to where the ship improvement technologies will be much bigger bonuses, moving from, like, red lasers to blue lasers or mass drivers to coil guns. Oh my goodness gracious! How did I not see that before? Had we not... I guess we hadn't actually... Yeah, I guess we just hadn't actually sent a ship into here. We knew what it would call, we just didn't... But that's... Oh, man. I mean, it would be nicer if it was a little bit further away. But a size 22 Alpine world... That is pretty damn good. Nice. Again, I wish it was just a little bit further out. For the border extension factor, but still, that's really good. I'm glad that we've got that. At least with it being closer to our borders, there's a much smaller chance of us losing that to another empire. Another tradition available. We're going to go for the science division, which gives us more research alternatives, which is not exactly the sexiest thing in the world. But again, that faith and science during the last game with the Kroll. My last game with the Kroll, I went to boldly go, then planetary survey cores, and then went down this one. And once I got faith and science, I was like, oh Jesus Christ, this is really good. Because again, that Unity output is so friggin' important. And it'll also help that I'll actually be picking my Ascension perks correctly. I'm not going to choose the things that I chose. What is it? The Galactic Imperative or Imperial Prerogative or something. What is that thing called? Interstellar Dominion. That's one of the perks that I picked. That might be a later game perk, but the border range thing is second order issue to getting Galactic Wonders, which is going to let us build the Science Nexus, which is super important. So, yeah. But I'm really afraid of finding another empire just hiding out in, like, a little nooks and crannies. Let's send you back to Dea system, research station there, station there. Queuing up actions. Like a boss. So construction ship is heading back to Dea. Build that shit. Third Fleet is still doing its scouting missions. Okay. Things are going well-ish. Kroll coming in there. How's our research work? Almost. We have another year and a half for the heritage sites, which I don't know why in my mind I thought we didn't. I thought that was unlocking the Autochthon Monument, not the heritage sites itself, which is silly because it says heritage sites. It might not have been the best idea, but we've come this far. I do think that the Unity outfit is important. Kind of form of... Okay... That looks like another Empire's ship. That is some sort of arthropoid ship, I believe. So that's probably another Empire. Quite possibly nearby. Enough to the point that, yeah. We gotta look into that.
Anomaly found.
Cool. Well, hopefully they're not, like, here. They're probably more likely, like, over here somewhere. Which I feel much better about. Now, Teresa is... What ship is that? Okay, so she's one of our surveyors. Which is fine. I really want to get in contact with these Epsilon fellows, just to see where they're at, see who they are. Again, presumably arthropods of some kind, judging by the ship design, but that tells us nothing about like the ethics. So we will have to see. All right, you don't have any extra orders, so here's what I'm gonna do. Survey system. Okay, so we'll loop around, get a feel for the local territory. 3 months to go. But yeah, I mean, having any empire like super duper nearby isn't the greatest thing for me, just because again I'm going to need to claim a lot of territory to keep up with the mineral and energy demands of the empire, demands that that our planet base is just not going to be able to support, our colonized planet base. And...
An alien empire has cracked our comms protocols. Show-offs.
God damn it. That's unfortunate. So they somehow barely beat us to it, unless this is the Democratic Trakposian Confederacy. They're fanatic egalitarians, which is helpful. We're egalitarians as well. That'll smooth things out. But they're also xenophobes, not fanatically so. Thank goodness. That sucks, because if they must have just like gotten it by a fucking day. Because if you crack someone else's comms first, you get more influence. Which is a very, very slow trickle resource that lets you maintain like your imperial borders and colonize planets and stuff. It's got few uses, but it balances that with the fact that it comes in fairly slowly. And it's actually going to be more important to us because we need to maintain our borders with frontier outposts. Yeah, fortunately, having a small empire with a small population will have better control of the political factions that rise up in time. So whatever, it all balances out. If we're going to colonize a planet, we should probably do it in the next 4 years while Hudson is still, for sure, the president. Because it'll be a little bit less expensive to do so.
Project concluded.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was our upgrades for the mining networks. Let's just clear away these extra tile blockers for now, just so we don't have to deal with that later. Next technology after we get the biolabs.
An alien empire has established communications.
Oh. The Penthulan Watchers. Okay. So this is the Fallen Empire. Where are they? Where are these guys located? I need to know. Presumably it'll be shown off once I leave this window. Okay. Citizens... they're spiritualists, which isn't great with our ethics. But they are holy guardians. Yeah, this is... If I didn't mention it before, so I don't know if it did. This is the Fallen Empire. Or at least a Fallen Empire. There might be more, but presumably this is the ones that are keeping an eye on that Gaia world. Fallen Empire dedicates itself to preservation and defense of its holy sites. Colonizing systems they consider sacred will likely incur their ire. Uh-huh. They also look fucking terrifying. Which, okay. Yeah, I see ya. Let's go for the egalitarian greeting, because our materialist greeting probably isn't going to rub them up quite the right way. Okie dokie. I don't know if I've ever seen a frickin' Fallen Empire in the center, like, so close to the galactic center. But yeah, there they are, and there's their, Gaia world. Well, that's concerning. I mean, I hope to fuck they don't wake up. Because, if they do, I'm probably going to be, like, one of the first things that they eat. That's unfortunate.
System survey concluded.
Oh, well. It's a lot of territory that I would have liked to have been able to, like... Especially with dense system placement. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. Still wish I could have gotten that Gaia world. That would have been nice. Oh, well. Hey, we found, two empires now. One of them fallen. The Penthuan Watchers and the Democratic Trackposian, probably Trackposian Confederacy. And then us, the little Kroll Technocracy.